Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 169. Today I'm going to talk about Aliens vs. Zombies. This is a game from Victory Point Games. It's a new release. Designed by Chris Taylor, who I seem to have a liking of his games, especially from them. He did, Legions of Darkness was one, and some tells me Nemo's War, but I'm not sure if he did that one. Anyway, I like those two games as well. This is sort of a war game for kids, so or with kids in mind. So you basically one person takes over the aliens, the other person takes over the zombies, which are actually humans. The aliens came down in the story here, kind of wiped out the human race, but some of the humans had a sort of a side effect from the weapons that were used against them, and they're now zombies and coming back for revenge on the aliens, so to speak. So it's a simple war game. You play it over 8 rounds. Moving your little counters around. There's various, types of zombies, various types of aliens, have different sort of attacks, and there's some different special abilities that the different sides can use. So let's take a quick look at this, and I'll tell you what I think. Okay, I've got all the pieces set up here. I've got the main board here. It's kind of a burned out city. You got some dice here that we're going to roll. Here are the alien counters here. You can see there's not a whole lot of these compared to the massive amount of zombie counters. Now these zombies are you going to put into a cup and then be drawing them to start the game as well as throughout the turn. So let me just jump to the setup. Basically, the zombie player is going to set up 15 zombies drawn out of a cup and place them anywhere on the board. And to start the game, you can't have more than 3 zombies in a location. And then the alien player is going to take a group of 3 groups of one of each type of alien. So if we look here, these are your 3 basic types of aliens. You also have leaders here, and I'll show those, and these sort of larger monstrous aliens that are going to come out of the events here. So if we take a look at the aliens here, you can see we've got sort of your little sort of infantry alien, and then your little tank, and then you've got your flying saucer here. And you can see on the left hand side is their attack ability, and the right side is the movement. And the flying saucer has a little triangle here, which means it can kind of ignore terrain as well as running into other groups, because it's going to be like flying over everybody. So you're going to take one group or 3 groups of each of these and then put them out on the board. So let me go set that up real quick. So here you can see I've got some stacks laid out here. I stacked some zombies in some different areas. The zones here are indicated by these dotted lines or these roads here. So you can see this is sort of a larger area here where these 3 zombies are at, and here you've got a little area there. So the first thing you're going to do every turn is you're going to draw one of these little event tiles. Now there's 10 of these, but you're going to actually remove 2 of them from the game, and then you're going to have basically 8 rounds. So there's 8 of these left. You're going to flip them over, you're going to draw them, and then they're going to show how many zombies the zombie player will pull from the cup, and then they're going to put on the board. And then also a little event icon, and this could be helpful for the zombie or the alien player. So when you go to put new zombies on the board, there's a couple of areas that you can put them in. You can put them in sort of dirt areas here. So you can see here's a cemetery here. Here's sort of like a little burned out, plot of land. Or you can put them anywhere on the edge of the board. After that, the alien player is going to roll a die, and they're going to add 1 to it. So this is a very good roll. So here in this case, we'd have 7 points sort of worth deployment that we could apply to the game. And then you're going to take a look at the combat strength. Again, that's the upper left number. And then you're going to total that. You basically have 7 points worth of deployment that you can put out onto the board. Now, if you look here, this is a leader here. You can see it's sort of the same as the infantry alien. It's got a couple of more tentacles, a little better combat strength, and also has a +1. This is going to help it in combat. And I'll talk about combat in just a second. But you can only ever deploy 1 leader per phase. So you couldn't deploy, even though we have 7 points worth of deployment, you couldn't deploy, in this case, 3 leaders. You can only ever put 1 leader out. So you're going to go ahead and drop those wherever you want on the board. The one restriction is the alien player can't drop where there's other pieces. The zombie player can, bring them out wherever. So the alien player has to be sort of cognizant of the fact that new zombies are going to come out of these dirt areas as well as the areas on the edges of the board. Now before the alien actually does anything, we are going to do the event, but I'm going to save explaining the events until the end. The events are very key to the game and going to sort of drive a little bit of the decision making that your players are going to need to be aware of before they start moving their stacks of counters around and doing combat. So let me explain all that first, and then I'll talk about some of the events at the end. So the aliens are going to get to act first. And basically, you're going to move and then possibly attack. So your movement, again, is the upper right-hand number here. So you can move every alien that you have out on the board, up to that many spaces. Now, if you move into terrain with trees, that actually costs 2 movement points to enter. If you move into an area with enemies, then you're going to have to stop. Unless you are moving a UFO, then it can basically sort of fly over those and keep moving through. In the case of a fast zombie, and zombies with a 4 rating are fast zombies, they can also move through enemies in a location. And aliens also cannot leave a location with a fast zombie. So if these two guys were here in this location and there was a fast zombie there, this guy with a 4, then they couldn't leave. Now the UFOs are allowed to leave because, again, they can just fly away. And also the last zombie cannot leave. So if we were to move these zombies, then they can't move. You got to leave at least one of them there because they're, especially they're kind of mindless and they really just want to eat whatever's there. Now, even though at the beginning of the game you can only have a stack of 3 zombies, during the rest of the game you can stack the zombies up as high as you want. And sort of have one large group or herd of zombies. Now, you don't necessarily want to do that, and I'll explain that in a little bit later, but you can do that. But you can at most have 4 aliens, in a stack, and then if you get one of these bigger aliens out, these actually count as 2 for that purpose. So again, aliens can move, and they're going to move first. They're going to move the number on the right, and then zombies move. They only have 1 number, which is sort of their attack and their move rating. So when you move, if you move more than 1 space, then you can't attack. So if I took these guys here and I moved them like down here to this guy, that would have been 2 spaces. No attacking could happen in that case. However, if they were only 1 space away, they can move 1 space and then they can still attack. And if you don't move at all, you started that turn in a space with some zombies, with some enemies, then you can do a sort of a special, you get a little bit of a bonus to your attack. So the aliens and zombies actually attack in a slightly different manner. So let's take a look at the zombies here. And again, they have 1 number, which is their movement rating, as well as their sort of 2-hit number when they roll a die. If there's a circle here, that basically means that this is a mob of that type of zombie, so there's actually several of these compared to maybe just a couple of these represented by that counter. So in this case, we're going to roll 1 die for each zombie, and then each zombie mob is going to roll a bonus die, so we're going to roll 3 dice in this case. Now, you're going to roll them separately, so we're going to roll 1 die for this green guy, sort of a medium level zombie, and he's going to make a hit if he rolls higher than a 3. This one we're going to roll 2 dice, and you're going to get a hit if you roll higher than a 4. So again, these are faster, but their 2-hit is a little bit less. You've got other zombies here, like these slow-moving guys here. He's a 2, but he's going to hit if he rolls higher than a 2, but he's very slow. So you're going to roll those, and then you're going to apply any hits. And then also, if the aliens attack, then it's a little bit different here. So if you're going to add up the attack power. So we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, like so. So we're going to add up, and that is the amount of dice that you're going to roll for the aliens. And the aliens are going to hit on a 4 or higher, but if they have a leader present, you're going to basically add sort of 1 bump to their attack level. So they're going to hit on a 3 or higher. So you're going to add up, again, all the attack values, roll that number of dice, and then if you get a 4 or higher or 3 or higher, and then you're going to apply the hits. But before you apply the hits, the defender in this case will be able to roll some die. If they get a 5 or higher, they're going to block the hits. And in the case of the aliens, they will be able to block the hits on a 4 or higher if there's a leader present. And also, the other thing to keep in mind with these combat values here with a circle is these actually take 2 hits to kill. So when aliens are killed, they're going to be removed off the board. They're going to go into the reserve to possibly come back later. When zombies are killed, now remember, zombies start the game off in the cup known as the graveyard. Well, when a zombie's killed, it's going to go off here in sort of this dead pile. At the end of the game, we're going to see how many zombies are in the dead pile, and that's going to determine who was the victor, basically the alien or the zombies. Now remember, I did mention a special attack. So if you start off in the same zone as your opponent and don't move, when you roll for attack, you're going to get a little bit of a bonus, and that works differently between the aliens and zombies. And basically that is determined if you roll a natural 6. So if you're the alien and you roll a natural 6, which is going to be a hit, then you get to roll an additional die for an attack. So you get kind of a bonus attack if you do what's kind of a blast attack and you've stayed in the same spot. So if you get a bunch of 6s, you're going to get sort of a chain reaction and get a lot of damage done to the zombies. When the zombies roll a 6 on attacking, they can remove one of the zombies of their choice here from the dead pile and put it back into the grave. And that's going to not only give them more zombies to put out as their cup diminishes, but also lessen the score of the aliens because there'll be less zombies in the dead pile. So that's basically the game. You're going to play 8 rounds, pulling off 8 of these event tiles, and then you're going to basically go and check this little chart here and see who won the game. So you can see here, if there's 0 to 10 dead zombies in the dead pile there, that's an overwhelming zombie victory. Whereas if you get all the way down here, if you've got 36 or more, zombies in there, you've got an incredible alien victory. And then you got like a tie if there's only like 22, zombies in there. So it's going to be key to try to keep the zombies coming in and keep trying to overwhelm the alien player to try to get a victory that way. And then again here, I said I would talk about the events. Some of the icons here on the different event tiles are described back here as well as in the rule book. Some of the key ones here to making sure that the zombie just doesn't build a giant stack of zombies and just kind of go through and end up mauling all the little alien stacks is this event here. This is the alien laser. So for each icon, zap one location. Roll is less than a number equal to the zombies to send all of them to the dead pile. Well, basically you pick a spot with the zombies and roll a die. So if the zombie guy ever stacks more than 6, then he's basically set himself up to be, totally zapped and totally wiped out. So just this event alone, and there's a couple of them in the stack, and there's one of them that actually has 2 of these, so the alien player will get to pick 2 spots. Then this is going to keep the zombie guy from, basically from winning the game every time. Because if that wasn't in there, basically the strategy is build up a giant stack of zombies and just go maul everything. And there's a couple other ones here. These 2 will bring out these 2 giant aliens here, which will go on sort of these different rampages and then stay out on the board to do some nice attacking. Zombie bite here for each icon. Gnaw one location, roll 5+ for each alien to replace. So basically you're going to bite all the aliens in one location, and then if you get a 5+, you turn them into zombies. So it's kind of the counteracting the alien laser here. You got a zombie rise, you can spawn extra zombies, and then non-flying aliens can't move with this claw, so this kind of adds a little bit of a little bit of fun and flavor to the game, as well as it kind of balances out the strategy of the game, I think. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the overview. This is a nice little quick war game, I think, for beginners. I think it's more geared towards kids or teenagers. I did play it with my son. He didn't really take to it that much. I think I had more fun than he did. That's why you don't see him here sitting next to me. It is very much a dice fest, but I think that's what it's supposed to be. It's not really supposed to be super strategic or anything. There is some nice balancing act with the the events kind of counteracting the zombie thing, and that was one of the things that when we played our game, he had built up a huge stack of zombies, and then I was like, oh, I've got a laser. There goes 10 of your zombies in one hit. But I think some of the movement rules and stuff, it's not really very complex at all. But I think that was a little bit annoying for him, just to have to worry about the different I can't leave. I've got to remember to leave this guy, and this guy can fly through, but this guy can't, and this tree's actually 2 movement points. So a little bit of the planning got a little bit frustrating for him. But I think we'll try it again maybe, and maybe he'll take to it again. But I thought it was fun. It was neat. And it plays quick. You can play this in like 30-40 minutes easily. Just because it's 8 rounds, it's very quick. You just try to, as the alien player, you try not to get surrounded by the zombies, and in the same way, you try not to get surrounded by the alien player. Like I said, it's a dice fest, but and I think it sets out to do what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be a light, fun, silly game with aliens and zombies attacking each other and stuff. So, and the pieces and the art on the counter and the board are very nice. I like them, and so yeah, I would say if you've got a kid, that I don't know, around 10 to 15 or something, probably might like this game. So that's Aliens vs. Zombies. Thanks.